So thank you for joining me this afternoon for this webinar on our South Africa and Mozambique properties. We're going to be talking about them, sort of moving between them as an itinerary and how they work very well together. I will be recording this one. We are recording our 5 o'clock webinar as well, and then we'll be popping one of those up on our YouTube channel. If you are ever thinking where the hell do I find the webinar recording before we've sent it out as a follow-up, then always our YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/smallworldmarketing, and you can find all of our webinar recordings there. We try to upload them the same week so that you can have access to that on demand whenever, and also share it with your teams and anyone you think might find it useful. So just a quick look to begin with at who our clients are. We will be, looking at South Africa and Mozambique today. A really classic kind of itinerary, a great kind of first timer itinerary, kind of safari and beach. But we also have our properties up in Kenya and Zanzibar, and that is who Orla will be chatting about next week. She'll be going through a little itinerary there and how those guys kind of work really nicely together. We've then got product in Zambia, Botswana, and also Madagascar. So if anyone is keen for updates or team training on any of these properties, then please let us know. We're more than happy to jump on a Zoom. We're based near Bath. We'd love to see you in person, but Zoom is kind of the next best thing. So looking at a kind of Southern Africa / kind of South Africa itinerary. And this handy map just showcases where we'll be talking about today. So Spier Hotel, Thornybush, and then Saudade Collection up in Vilanculos. So we start in Spier. Spier is a fantastic first stop. For one of the big reasons is because it is so close to Cape Town Airport. I just travelled here very recently, flew into Cape Town, and within sort of 25 minutes, I was checking in. And what was amazing was that kind of, I touched down a bit late into Cape Town at sort of 6:30 in the evening. By 8 o'clock, I had showered, changed, and I was sat in the restaurant with a glass of wine in my hand. And I really appreciated the ease at which I got here. It's got that gorgeous Winelands feel. You're on a wine estate in the Winelands, but you're on that kind of edge where it's super easy to access from Cape Town itself and from the airport, and it's really easy to jump off and head into the Winelands as well. So, we're talking about Spier as a kind of your only Winelands stop for the purpose of this webinar. It's really easy to use as a jumping off point to go and explore Cape Town and go and explore the Winelands just from one handy base. So you can really spend a good few nights here exploring the farm itself and the surrounding areas. Or it can, very well be twinned with other product in the area. So this is a really handy map of the full Spier estate. You've got the kind of main side of the farm on this side here, and then here you have got the hotel on the right-hand side. So the hotel, as you can see, actually makes up a small part of the whole estate. There's a lot to see, there's a lot to do. What I would say is really lovely and I really appreciated here was being able to just wander around. It's really easy to get around. It's not, the areas where you're sort of wandering through to it's not enormous. You don't need shuttles. You don't necessarily need to have a golf buggy or a bike. We do have those options, absolutely. But if guests want to just wander around at their leisure, you don't have to be beholden to somebody taking you to the main area or taking you to this restaurant or wherever. It's very, very easy to get around. What's really lovely as well is that as a hotel guest, you have the best of both worlds. You can make the most of that beautiful kind of farmyard area that is open to the public, and the hotel is completely exclusive to hotel guests. So you have the whole hotel to explore, and you can explore that main side of the farm at your leisure. The main side is a really buzzy area. I was there on a Sunday. It was so lovely to see lots of local families coming down here to have a picnic and kids playing around, around this sort of lawn area and by the lake. what's great is obviously you can really dip in and out of that as you please. It's also obviously much quieter on weekdays. On this side of the farm, you've got things like wine tasting, you've got the art tours, you can have farm tours as well. We do Segway tours of the farm, which is really fun. And there's also lots of trails, so you can go cycling through those trails. I went for a little run through the trails as well, one of the mornings. So there is lots to see on this side of the farm. Then on the hotel side, so what I would say about the hotel side is if you know Spier and you've been in the last, it's been open decades, forget what you knew about the Spier Hotel. If you haven't seen it since its refurb, then, you haven't seen this just amazing regeneration that they have done, and they have completely changed the kind of, I think, segment of the market that they're operating in, and the experience. They've made this hotel a destination in itself. I spent 2 full days just hanging out here. I didn't feel the need to go anywhere else. I didn't want to go anywhere else. It was just gorgeous to be kind of in this beautiful area. When you arrive, you're welcomed into reception. And they try not to do a typical hotel check-in. They sit you down, they do a really lovely orientation where they chat to you about the farm, what you can get up to, if you want to book anything in there. And then obviously you absolutely can. And then you'll be shown to your room. You will head through the reception into the lobby bar, and then we have the restaurant on the other side there. We've got this gorgeous big pool. This makes this area kind of makes the hotel feel like a destination. I noticed was a lot of people were chilling by the pool during the day, not necessarily constantly rushing off to go and do something or see something. Absolutely, you can do that from here. You can use it as a jumping off point to explore this whole area. Head down to Hermanus, head further into Stellenbosch or Franschhoek, go over into Cape Town. But you can also just use Spier as a destination, particularly just coming off an international flight, to just stop and really chill. We have our garden room restaurant. This is where guests would have breakfast and lunch, and there's a beautiful harvest table for breakfast and hot breakfast options as well. So breakfast is included for all guests. The rate is B&B, and that's simply because obviously you are heading out quite often. You can head out for lunch and dinner in the surrounding areas. That being said, we also have the Veld restaurant, which is the most gorgeous setting, these beautiful hanging baskets. It's got this beautiful mood lighting. When I arrived, I actually thought I was going to just go and order room service. They do 24-hour room service at the hotel. And I thought, God, I'm knackered. I'm just going to go and order room service. I walked past the restaurant and thought, oh, God's sake, I'm going to have to go eat at the restaurant. I can't miss out. It is a really beautiful, beautiful space. And the food is delicious. That really classic kind of farm to fork, really letting the flavors of the fresh produce speak for themselves. We also have our rooftop bar. This is an adults only area. It's open from 5 p.m. and it is the most beautiful spot for a sundowner, watching the mountains sort of turn a pinkish hue with the sunset. And it is a really gorgeous little space. So moving on to the rooms, we have now 80 rooms and suites plus 2 sole use villas. So the hotel halved its inventory during its rebuild. A lot of the other rooms have been decommissioned. They are either now, there's some of them are office space for the res team and the marketing team. Some of the buildings have been repurposed into the spa and the gym. And we also, some of them were kind of removed and turned back into green space. So we have a lot of beautiful garden space as well. So we have our luxury rooms, which are upstairs. These have a little Juliet balcony. You've got an ensuite bathroom here as well. And we have our luxury twin rooms, which all interlead into a double. So this is a really great option for smaller families with 2 children. We can add an extra bed for a 3rd child as well. So every twin, we have set twins and set doubles. We can't sort of mix and change this into a double, for example, but they all interlead. All the twins will interlead into a double. And then downstairs we have our garden rooms. The only difference between the luxury rooms upstairs and the garden rooms downstairs is that the garden rooms have a little terrace, and the decor is slightly different. The flooring's different, the bed's different, and that is the only difference. The price point is slightly higher down here, just simply because you have that beautiful extra space of the garden terrace. Again, we have twin options downstairs, and these all interlead into those doubles. We then have the luxury suites. These are a slightly bigger option. We have a day bed in the bedroom, so we can add a child in here easily. And we do also have a little kitchenette space and obviously that like nice big lounge area. And these do have the garden ones downstairs do have that lovely garden terrace space. We then have our owner's suites. So these are a really quirky, kind of different design. They're completely different from anything that you see around the rest of the hotel. And these have, a really kind of, I think the main thing I noticed about these suites is that they have a lot more kind of that antique flair. They have some really beautiful kind of reclaimed furniture, and they have the kind of nod to the Spier of old and the history of this property. They're all completely unique. There's 4 of these, and they are adults only, these suites. We then have 2 3-bedroom villas. These villas are more or less identical. The layout, sort of footprint of the interior is completely identical. You have a double bedroom downstairs, you have a double and twin upstairs, again, set double, set twin, and then you have a sort of open plan kitchen, living, dining, and a kind of prep kitchen pantry as well. These are fully catered. Breakfast is included, and then lunch and dinner can be added at an additional cost. You have a chef here, so the only additional cost would be just for the produce, but the chef and the kind of the rest of that is sort of included in the rate, and they come with private staff as well. We then have the Riverside Villa. You can see the kind of the tones are slightly different in the color scheme, and the outdoor space. Whilst the outdoor space is kind of a very similar footprint, the sort of the configuration is slightly different. You have a pool at both of these villas, and outdoor kind of dining bright area as well. We then have our wellness center. So this actually was previously rooms, but what's really nice is it doesn't feel like repurposed rooms. It feels like a very intentionally transformed space. It's very idyllic. You have beautiful signature treatments, and there is actually a beautiful courtyard here as well. So what I really found was after having a treatment here, you don't have to leave. You don't have to be sort of thrust back out into the world after you've had this absolutely beautiful kind of Zen experience. You can chill in the courtyard. You can have a cup of tea or a glass of wine. There's a little pool there as well, so you can sit by the pool for a couple of hours. So it kind of makes the whole wellness center into a kind of experience outside of just your treatment. We also have a yoga and Pilates studio here where we have classes 3 times a week. And then we have our kids club. So the Buzz Club is from age 4 to age 12. Children under 4 are welcome to come here just with adult supervision. They can come and play with the toys. There's a mud kitchen outside. There's a really lovely outdoor area. And they have a schedule of activities that runs throughout the year, and it's every day there's different activities on. So there's always something for kids to do. It's not just little kids. There's fun activities for the kind of bigger kids, once they get to sort of like 9, 10, 11, and they're not necessarily playing with blocks. There is activities for them as well. And I think the property itself really works nicely for families with older kids and teens. It feels very safe. You can take a bike and go kind of cycling around. Kids can go, teenagers can go and do a Segway tour while mum and dad have a wine tasting. So there is loads to do, and the farm itself feels like a real destination. And as I said before, can also be used as that jumping off point. So you base yourself in one place. I think particularly if you do have kids, moving around lots isn't necessarily very fun. And so basing yourself in one place and being able to jump off and do day trips out to different places is really lovely. So moving on to the kind of safari portion, we've popped a couple of logistics in here. So we are talking about Thornybush, being that it's our client. Now, Thornybush lodges have lodges in the Thornybush Reserve and also in the Sabi Sand as well. So these kind of logistics are sort of what is recommended or what you can do to get from Cape Town to these properties. As I said, Cape Town Airport's only a 25-minute drive from Spier. And then you can either fly from Cape Town into Hoedspruit and do a road transfer to the Thornybush Reserve. Saseka and Game Lodge are very close to one another, so it's about a 40-minute drive. Or to get to Simbambili, you can head to Hoedspruit and do a transfer as well. That is a couple of hours, that transfer. We can also, for Sabi Sand, go into Nelspruit, into Mpumalanga, or into the Skukuza airstrip as well. There is the option to go to Simbambili. We do use the Arathusa airstrip. That is generally used if guests are coming from Joburg, because there's a direct Joburg to Arathusa flight with Fed Air. So it's not as ideal, obviously, if you're coming from Cape Town, which is why we kind of recommend Hoedspruit or Nelspruit / Skukuza. And then into lodge transfers, if guests were twinning Thornybush with Simbambili, it would be about a 2-hour drive between the properties. So Thornybush, we've been representing for a few years now, and what's been fabulous is to see, over the last few years, we've had so many updates to all the product, which has been really cool, and also to see how the Thornybush Reserve itself is really leveling itself with those more well-known reserves like the Sabi Sand. So we have got Saseka Tented Camp and Thornybush Game Lodge in the Thornybush Reserve, and then Simbambili in the Sabi Sand Reserve. So as I said, Thornybush Reserve really does level itself against some of the I guess the more well-known reserves in the Kruger, the Greater Kruger. We have no fences on the eastern boundary. These were dropped a number of years ago now, and the game has just gotten better and better and better since those fences were dropped. We have incredible leopard sightings, fantastic lion sightings. Whenever I've been, I've seen wild dog. Wouldn't guarantee anything, but I've always seen wild dog when I've been here. Amazing rhino sightings, fabulous elephant. And also I think something that's really important is everything else in between. So particularly if, it's very popular for first timers heading to Greater Kruger, seeing the kind of general plains game as well in great numbers is really, really fabulous. So you really see a bit of everything at Thornybush. And I've always seen the big five when I've stayed here, which has been, obviously amazing. So Game Lodge was completely refurbed a few years ago now, all new decking and thatching and a complete overhaul of the interior design as well. So if any of you guys have got old images of the old Thornybush hanging around, do let me know, and we can get those updated. I will be sending out everything you need as well, all those links in the follow-up. And we have a lovely big main pool here. Everything kind of overlooks this dry riverbed, and we're kind of on that bend in the dry riverbed. We do get a lot of game down there. We'll get elephants sort of digging for water as well. All the rooms footprint is the kind of same as it always has been, but all completely new interiors, really fun, kind of bold design, ensuite bathrooms with an indoor and outdoor shower. And then we have Kamara House, which is our exclusive use option. So I think what's really nice to think about throughout the itinerary is that at Spier, you've got two really gorgeous 3-bedroom villas. That has actually, Spier did just release a recommended itinerary, which includes Spier and Kamara House and a couple of other product as well. So if you would like any information on that, do let me know. But Kamara House, again, is a 3-bedroom product. You've got 2 double bedrooms and a twin, so fits in really nicely with the Spier product. We also have the option here of adding on the bush suite. So you can sort of vaguely see it in this image. There's a raised decked walkway that heads to the bush suite, which can be added on. So we can add on another room. At Spier, you can you can add on a kind of double room very close to the villa. So if you've got granny and grandpa staying as well, they can have a room outside of the villa, but obviously make use of that area as well. So similar setup in that sense. In terms of the design, very, very similar. You have it fully catered here, private guide, private vehicle, and then private chef and staff. So guests are welcome to be completely private at this villa, or they're also welcome to come down to the main area and they can have a drink at the main bar. They can come and dine at the Boma when we have Boma evenings. So they can kind of make it as exclusive or as social as they like. Then heading to Saseka, which is just next door. So Saseka is getting a little bit of a refresh in the early part of next year. So this main area, all the decking is going to be changed out for kind of natural wood decking. There'll be a little bit of a spruce up in terms of the look and feel of the interior design. I don't anticipate a huge amount changing because everyone just loves this design and it is really, really beautiful. But they'll be warming up the space and just changing a couple of things. Can you believe it's been open 6 years now, nearly 7 next year? So about, you've got to do these things every few years. Then we have these beautiful tented rooms. So we've got 9 tented rooms here, which are all really unique with that gorgeous draped kind of ceilings, and just a really perfect kind of honeymooner stop, I would say, Saseka is. You've got private plunge pools in all the rooms. It's adults only in the main area, so 16 plus. And it's just it's got a really romantic feel to those gorgeous rooms all overlooking that dry riverbed. We then have Little Saseka. So Little Saseka is actually having a little bit of an upgrade as well next year, and we're going to be extending it. So it will be a villa option. It will be 3 bedrooms, 2 doubles and 1 twin. The twin will be interleading into one of those doubles, and where they will all interlead onto this main area, where you have got a main pool and a big main area kind of tent. The rooms and the interior design obviously is very similar to that of main Saseka, and any adult guests are welcome to make use of the main area in the main lodge. We can do babysitting here as well. So if kids want to have an early dinner, go to bed, have a babysitter, and then adults come down to the main area, that's something that can absolutely happen as well. Same goes for Kamara House. Then we have Simbambili. So we are down now in the northern part of the Sabi Sand. And Simbambili is, again, I would say, a fantastic honeymooner lodge. You've got 9 rooms, all with private plunge pools and beautiful decked areas. The main area overlooks this waterhole where you get a lot of elephants and game coming down. And the whole lodge had a complete refurb just last year as well. So that is all new decking and thatching, all new interiors, and the rooms all have new interiors as well. You've got this beautiful sort of indoor-outdoor vibe at the main lodge. And then all of the suites have had, footprint remains the same, but have had a complete overhaul. You've got the private plunge pools on all the decks, and sala beds, and lovely big bathrooms. And then we also have our wellness centre now as well. So Simbambili now has a main pool. We have this beautiful space for private dinners. We can set up group dinners here. It's another area to kind of hang out. If you've got a few couples traveling together, it means they can come and chill here during their siesta period. We can do pizza lunches here as well. We've got a pizza oven, and also our spa here as well. So we've done our safari. We've gone from the Winelands up to the Greater Kruger, and now we want to head up to Mozambique to finish off on a beach stop. So you've got a couple of options here to go from the Kruger up to Mozambique, or sort of more specifically from Thornybush or Sabi Sand. So there is a direct flight from Nelspruit. This is from Nelspruit to Vilanculos. It does not run every day. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and it departs at midday. So from both Thornybush and Simbambili, the drive down to Nelspruit is about 2 hours 45 to 3 hours. And you'll be arriving in Vilanculos by sort of mid-afternoon. It's a very quick transfer from Vilanculos Airport to Saudade, where we're heading to next. And so you can be enjoying kind of a late lunch, or kind of drink and a snack by the mid-afternoon. The second option, you can connect via Johannesburg. This is great if the flight kind of doesn't match with the travel dates from Nelspruit, if having that flexibility of the daily flight is required, or if the safari ends near Hoedspruit and you'd rather fly from Hoedspruit. via Johannesburg and then up to Vilanculos. So you can fly Hoedspruit to Johannesburg and then Johannesburg to Vilanculos and kind of connect those flights up. And you can be again in Vilanculos and at the lodge by sunset. So you can be having a sundowner on the beach, having left your lodge that morning. So we are heading to a Saudade collection. So Saudade is a newer client for us. We are here located just 20 minutes north of Vilanculos Airport on the mainland. So the convenience is really there in terms of the logistics. Yes, you know, you might have to fly or do a longer road transfer on your safari leg, but once you get here, you've landed, you're away, you're at the lodge, you know, very quickly, which I think is really lovely and really important. You know, to be able to be, you know, having a sundowner here and not having to overnight anywhere, I think is really lovely. So we have Saudade and Villa Coco. Saudade is the new villa here, which opened earlier this year. It is a 6-suite villa. It can be sold FIT or exclusive use. And then we have Villa Coco, which is an exclusive use beach cottage just next door. So the owners here, Mike and Sarah, have owned Villa Coco for many, many years. They have been running it as an exclusive use villa for a long time. And they've also been holidaying here as a family for about 20 years. So they know this area inside out. They absolutely love it here, which is why they built Saudade. So, I mean, if you've ever flown up to this area, the flight up is just stunning. This, you know, the archipelago, the islands, the sandbars, it is just one of the most beautiful places to fly over. Saudade is located right on the beach. So you are steps away from the beach, but you also have this very kind of a sort of cross between a very modern build with really beautiful Mozambican touches in that thatch, in all the woven materials. One of the things that Mike and Sarah are really proud of is that if it could be sourced in Mozambique, it was. They absolutely tried to ensure everything was sourced from as close to the villa as possible, and made use of local artisans and local skilled workers as well. So there's they didn't hire a building contractor; they project managed the build themselves, and sort of brought in all the different trades. And also provided a lot of these trades with the tools that were required that they may not have had and have gone on to use in future builds. So as I say, it's a 6-bedroom lodge. All of the rooms can be accessed from in the main area. If it's taken exclusively, they also have separate access into the rooms outside of the main area for when it is sold on an FIT basis. You've got this gorgeous big veranda area overlooking the ocean. And lots of different spaces to kind of break away into. So whilst the lodge is small and there are only 6 rooms, generally only 5 of these rooms will be sold when it is FIT. One of those rooms is a family room, and when sold on an FIT basis, this lodge is for adults only. We have a gorgeous pool area, and what you kind of don't necessarily get from these images is that the beach is literally a few steps. Just here, you walk down a few steps and you're on the beach. So you're not super, super elevated. You're elevated enough to get those incredible sweeping views, but you can get down to that beach really easily. The food here is divine, lots of fresh flavors, lots of seafood. And Mike and Sarah are real foodies, so it's something that they feel is very important, is delicious, delicious dining. And then each suite is designed slightly differently. So we have our honeymoon suite, which is our largest room, and then we have 5 further suites. So 4 of these suites are double, and then we do have the family room, which has got 2 queen beds and then 2 single beds, and that is for kids, for if the lodge is sold on an exclusive basis. We can also sell that as a twin room if there are guests who are staying that definitely want a twin room. We then have Villa Coco next door, and this is really, another great exclusive use option if you're looking at kind of the villas at Spier, at Kamara House, or Little Saseka. Then heading up to Villa Coco is absolutely perfect. You've got four rooms here. You've got three sort of suites, and then a double bedroom. The double bedroom has an external bathroom, which is why it's generally the kids' room. And this is where Mike and Sarah have been holidaying for years. It's got a really gorgeous kind of home from home feeling here. Again, you're actually right next door to Saudade, so the location itself is very, very similar. Um, and actually, both lodges can be taken as a whole for a large exclusive use group. There's a little walkway through the garden, which can be sort of unblocked for guests to kind of make use of. And they have done this on occasions. They've had weddings hosted at Saudade and Villa Coco, and then they've had all the kind of dining over at Saudade, and guests have been spread across both. You've got four luxury suites, all slightly different to one another, but all again, you can see the kind of signature style here with a lot of those natural textures and tones. And then we've got lots of activities. Because you're on the mainland, you can kind of make use of a lot of the mainland activities. We've got the horse riding, the Vilanculos horse safari. We can do island excursions. You can head out on a full day's kind of island trip where you have a picnic lunch and you go snorkeling. We can do deep sea fishing with external suppliers and other kind of boat tours. We actually at the moment have got our own dhow. Mike was sailing it down from Inamban yesterday. So we are going to have our own dhow here very, very soon, which is really exciting. Probably in the early part of next year, I'd say there's a lot of the upholstery needs to be done, but yeah, in the early part of next year, we will have our own dhow, which is very cool. And you can head into the local village. You can go and do a market tour as well. So you get to have that real connection with mainland Africa when you stay here on the mainland near Vilanculos. So thank you for listening to me. I hope that's given you a nice recap of our clients, but also how they work really nicely together. A bit of a look at some special offers for 2026 from these clients. So Saudade have got a stay 4, pay 3. This is available on their premium rooms, so it's honeymoon, fern, and frangipani suites. They then also do have their honeymoon special. Those are combinable. So the honeymoon special is that island hopping excursion is included for stays of 3 nights or more. So you can combine that stay 4, pay 3 with the honeymoon special. Then Thornybush have a single supplement waiver from January throughout the year. Sorry, I thought it was from January to June. Ignore me. And that is available for all lodges. That is the single supplement waiver at Thornybush is for the third traveller, if that makes sense. So for travellers as part of a group. So if you've got a couple plus a three, plus one, sorry. They then have their honeymoon special, so that's 50% off for one of the partners. And then we also have our stay pay special as well. So those are limited to certain dates. But obviously, when we follow up with you, I will send you all that information.